Hi everyone, this is Surabhi from Thia's Cave, and today we will be in conversation with Juniper. We'll be talking about psychological and emotional challenges that children face, and we are just waiting for Juniper to be online, and then we will take this discussion forward. But before that, let me introduce uh, Juniper to you. So Juniper is here. I'll just add her. Hi Juniper.
Hey, Surbi.
How are you doing?
Just a minute.
So let me just start by introducing Juniper to everyone. Juniper is a clinical psychologist, and she has been working with in the field of corporate and clinical decade and a half. Wow, Juniper, that's a big work that you come with. And something that really fascinates
Surbi,
me
your voice is breaking.
is it.
Surbi, your voice is breaking. I cannot hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, it's a little better.
Okay. Yeah, so as I was saying, Juniper is a clinical psychologist and she's been working in the field of clinical psychology, corporate and clinical support from the past 15 years or so. And her latest work includes destigmatizing mental illnesses. And Juniper, would you just like to add something more to this?
Thank you, Surbi, for a lovely introduction. Yes, I have been in the field of corporate training and counseling, psychotherapy for the last 15 years. And of late, I have started my practice in flower therapy, lessons therapy, and psychotherapy and batch flower therapy together, so I can, the treatment or the power to heal somebody is only higher that way. So I amalgamate.
Yeah, that's really nice, Juniper. So, Juniper, um, psychological and mental illnesses, there is still a lot less awareness in the society related to mental illnesses and psychological illness. They haven't really found a place in the society. People still don't know. Yeah, better now. I think we've lost Juniper there. 1 second, I'll just bring her on camera again. Hello. I think we've lost. There's some connection issue with uh, Juniper's end. I'll just try adding her again. Yeah. Yeah, Juniper.
Yes,
Am
now
I
I can hear
audible?
you.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yes.
I'll just repeat, what I was just saying. Psychological and mental illnesses have really not found a place in the society that they really should. And there's still a lot of people unaware and they don't know when to approach a psychologist. So, can you like throw some light on what should be done and when?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, very true, Surabhi. Indeed, it's been quite some time since people have been speaking about psychological health or mental health, but yet this hasn't become as one of the mainstream issues that we as human beings consider to be one of the most important ones. Whether or not we like it, it is that the brain and the body are connected, and that's the ultimate truth. So if we are looking at having a better physical health, we definitely have to concentrate on having a better psychological health, because without a physical health, psychological, and without a psychological health, physical health. Am I audible?
Yeah, I think
In the middle.
okay, we've lost Juniper again, I think. Some technical glitch today. Sorry, folks. Yeah,
Hello.
I think there are some connectivity issues at your end, maybe,
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, but continue, please
Um,
continue.
yeah. So do you want me to restart answering the question? Where did
Okay,
we lose
then,
connection?
um, okay, I think you can restart maybe.
All right. So we were talking about why psychological health is not getting the limelight or the focus that probably a physical health or physical ailment gets.
Yeah,
Yes, and it is to an extent true that the importance that a physical ailment or a physical illness gets is larger than what psychological illness would get. Whether or not
yeah,
we like to believe it, but it is true that the brain and the body, both of them are extremely connected. So if I'm looking at having a great physical health, I also need to have great psychological health. Because if one of the two
absolutely.
falls, I think the entire tower of
Yes,
uh, it is as important as any other form of health, maybe physical or spiritual, dental, any of these healths. Okay, so mental health is also
absolutely.
equally important. A lot of people believe that having a mental issue or an illness means that the person is crazy
Hmm.
or a person is dangerous, and
Yes.
to some extent, I also blame the kind of movies that have been made showing people with mental illnesses as people who have extremely deranged behaviors or are harmful to the society in some way. And, hence that typical stereotype that has been built around mental illness has invariably been very negative. That could be one of the issues why you see mental illnesses aren't coming in the forefront as one of the major health concerns that people today pose. Many believe that mental illness is something that I can live with, or I can easily walk off. Or a lot of people also believe that if an individual illness, the person is trying to pose of having a mental illness, and he or she is making it look too big for probably attention or over care or whatever. But in reality,
Yeah.
having a mental illness is a very serious issue. It is not something that an individual can switch on and switch off with convenience. So if I
Yes.
have a mental illness, I definitely have it. It's not that I could take advantage over a mental issue that I have. So that's the truth around, mental health. And we also need to understand one important fact about mental health is that anybody could have mental health. It's not that people having mental health issues come with specific physical characteristics, maybe a skewed nose or an eye or whatever. Any normal person could have a mental illness or a emotional challenge. Um, and I think the reason why a lot of people ignore mental health is because it's not seen. Most of it is inside, it's within you.
Yes.
Most of it is just a feeling. Feeling of why do I feel sad? Or feeling of why do I feel so dark inside my head? Or why do I feel so unhappy? So unless each of these why do I are not recognized and we continue living with this I can handle it or I can manage it syndrome, mental health will never get the importance that it should in our lives.
Yes.
We need to, like how we take care of our bones, we take care of our skin, we take care of our hair, we take care of our physical health, as I said, our dental health. I don't know why we shy away from taking care of our mental health, isn't it? I think it's just a high time that we start treating mental illnesses as any other
Yeah.
medical illness. Medical illnesses,
So also,
sorry, mental illnesses
trying
have
to.
all, sorry.
I was just saying that that is also why sometimes we tend to shrug it like brush it under the carpet, and we don't take it
Very
too
true.
seriously. Which also brings
Yes.
me to my next question that, like these psychological and emotional challenges that a lot of children face these days. What kinds do they face, and what are the early symptoms that probably parents can pick on and then seek help and support if required for them?
Okay. Now, children are nothing but mini adults. So most of the
Yeah.
challenges that we as adults face are similar to that of what a child would face. While I was reading through a few articles over the couple of weeks, I came across one of this article which said that in India in the year 2017 we had around 197.3 million people suffering with mental illness. So in a
My God.
population of let's say 125 crores, if we have a 197.3 million people suffering with mental illnesses, which means a major section of people are deprived of the attention that they should be given. And
Yes.
what also startled me is that after this the recent pandemic and the recent lockdown, the Indian Psychiatry Society has declared that there is a spike rate of 20% increase in the issues of mental illnesses. So
Yes.
these issues are not different for children or different for adults. All of them do face similar kind of issues. But yes, there are some specific issues that children or emotional challenges that children face, which could be a little different from that of adults. So yeah, we could talk about a few of those, challenges. Um,
Yes.
some of the common challenges or emotional issues that probably children face are anxiety, anxiety in the form of panic, or it could be some fear, or it could be heightened fear, what we call as phobias. So one of them could be this kind of an emotional challenge. The other one could be depression. Um, it sounds a little silly if at all a child could feel depressed, But definitely, yes, depression is one of the major problems that a lot of children these days face. Um, Now, how we can understand that a child is depressed? Parents need to be extremely watchful. If the child is saying that I don't like waking up from my bed, not the normal syndrome, that the child is refusing to go to school or refusing to do his normal duties, and hence he's refusing to wake up, but it could be persistently that the child says that I don't feel like eating, I don't feel like playing, I don't feel like meeting my friends, I have interest in nothing at all. If these are some of the signs that parents are noticing in children, the every now and then, sometimes with reason and sometimes without. These are those little signs of depression that we need to check. Learning other than depression, there are some other problems like learning disorders in children. That is also one of the major things that children face these days. Learning disorders like dyslexia, wherein a child is having difficulty reading, or it could be dyscalculia, where the child is having a problem with math. Of course, this is not the problem that most of us face in school, but this is where the child genuinely is not able to understand how a 2 plus 2 is a 4.
Yeah.
That kind of an
It's
issue.
not like lack of
Or it
focus
could
or
be,
something that we usually tell them, but it is something more, right?
yes, it's beyond that. It's beyond that normal, issues that most of children face. So learning disorders are one other challenge that, children face. Now, there's another challenge that a lot of people have been calling me um, in the past few months for. This particular issue is called as the oppositional defiant disorder, or the ODD. Now,
Okay.
there are a few kids who have serious problems at home or in school or with their peers in between the age group of, let's say, less than 8 years and not more than 12 years. So an oppositional defiant disorder is prevalent in children and is recognized in children for less than 8 years of age. So now what are the symptoms, or how does a child with an ODD behave? So children
Yes.
with ODD are typically always angry on their caregivers or upset about mother, primary caregiver, or a teacher, or an uncle or an aunt who is very involved in taking care of the child. So children with an ODD are largely angry most of the times. They argue with adults, or they refuse to comply with adults' rules and requests. Also, often children are quite spiteful. They like deliberately annoying others. Now, these are those little signs that we as parents have to catch at a young age, and hence, knowing all of these become important. Okay, so
Yes.
oppositional defiant disorder is one of those major challenges that a lot of people have been calling me off late. And the reason why I feel there's a spike in ODD is also because of the anxiety during this time that we as adults and children are facing. So probably this,
Yes.
that anxiety and this behavior together are manifesting a lot more, higher these days. The rate of manifestation is higher.
Yeah. Also, they're
Apart from
not
this,
able
we
to go
have
out
some
and
disorders or challenges that we. Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I was saying also, I mean, the anxiety is not going to school, so that routine is broken for them. Am I
Yes,
audible, Jennifer?
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So that could be one of the reasons as well. Um, Now, along with all of these, we also have a little more, let's say a little more issues that definitely need attention from a psychologist. Some issues that we call as, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or an ADHD. Now, ADHD children are usually extremely hyperrated in their, actions. These children find it extremely difficult to focus on their homework, or they make careless mistakes around simple tasks that are supposed to be done. So anything which involves patience, time, and effort becomes a challenge for these people. So this is one other common challenge that most of the children face. Now, other than this, of course, we have the extremely regular affair of every house, whether the child refuses to go to school, or the child isn't studying enough, or the child is stubborn, he's back answering, there is too much screen time. So these are some
Yeah.
of those regular.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
Surbhi.
actually, my next question was going to be that, um, a lot of times when I'm talking to my friends or some family members and we are discussing children, so these things really in the normal conversations crop up that the child is getting too much screen time and they're addicted to screens, or they're throwing a lot of temper tantrums these days. They are behaving stubbornly, there are eating disorders. So, like, how do we as parents deal with such situations where, the child is behaving in a certain manner?
Okay. Now, most of the times, what we as parents believe is that a child is our project work. Okay. And hence we try to control them a little too much. Probably we would try to micromanage into it a lot more than what usually we would do. These days, having a child and handling a child has become too much of an issue for every parent. It's not easy to be a parent anymore. It's like an acrobatic act, balancing too many factors and making sure that everything is going seamlessly well. I want to be a perfect mother, or I want to be a perfect father. I want to have a perfect child. So this has become kind of a normal norm, among people these days, among parents these days. So I think this is one of the reasons why a lot of parents are facing it so difficult to handle any of these littler problems that children are facing on the go. A lot of times, simple problems like an eating disorder is looked upon as something really big. And, my child hasn't, my child isn't independently eating by himself or herself. Now that's okay. Every child has their own learning curve. And I think we just need to give some time to the child to make sure that he or she settles into the phase, settles into change. Now, that is also other thing that we all have to remember, that change of any kind at any age isn't accepted very easily by always comes
Yeah.
with some assistance. So when the change is happening in a child, we as parents have to give a little cushion, a little time to the child to live with the change before we start tackling it like a project.
That's very true, actually. So I mean, uh, there are maybe, because usually families now have a single child or maybe just two kids, so a lot of focus goes towards them. So we also become very panicky about the smaller issues that probably we are best left ignored and let the child take
Right.
time to become, used to those things, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
So,
So yes,
yeah.
that has become one of the common, things these days. Center
Yeah.
point of attention.
Yes, yes, yes. So Divya has a question actually. She's asking us how far is like, the denial by parents to recognize a psychological or an emotional challenge. How far the denial is related to social stigma in the society? Does that contribute to the denial part, and how far does it?
Yes, absolutely. Mental illnesses, no matter how cool it looks these days to say that, I went to a psychologist for a session of counseling because, it's coming out in the open a little more than what it used to earlier. So it sounds cool, but when it comes to actually taking your own child, forget about your own self, taking your own child to a psychologist or a psychiatrist for some intervention by them in itself is a huge issue even today. And that is one of the reasons why it is still not destigmatized completely as much as we want it to. There is a lot of
Yeah.
reluctance from parents, first of all, to take a child there, because then a lot of naming happens to the child, a lot of name shaming happens eventually, a lot of bullying around it um, goes on. I think all of these are some of the reasons why parents are reluctant, and of course reluctant to take. But even before that is the phase of denial, as Divya mentioned. Certainly, yes, the
Yeah.
phase of denial is existing even today. Most of the times, parents say that it's okay, it's an age that he or she is growing, and it's all right if he's throwing tantrums 80% of the time in a day, or it's okay if he's harming himself and his kids, and other kids around. It's okay if he's having some adjustment issues with his other friends. So they take it as everything is okay. So unless and until we don't understand that it is not okay to have a certain set of behavior, and it is not okay because these behaviors could eventually lead into bigger problems later,
Yeah.
probably it wouldn't change. So accepting that sometimes, yes, my child could have a problem, is always wise. I've also heard and read that mental health problems affect in children affect about 1 in every 10 children. So you see how widespread it is. So mental health is
Yeah.
prevalent in 1 out of every 10 children. And I was surprised to know that 70% of these children who are absolutely unattended or with absolutely no mental health experts advice or help. So that is somewhere, going to lead personality maybe eventually.
Absolutely. So, we talk about denial. So, I feel denial also comes from how the society reacts to the kids or to the parents of those kids. So, what can we as people? Sorry for the technical glitches. Jennifer's back. Um,
Yes, looks like
yeah.
there is some, yeah, there is some issue. I've just logged in through my phone. I think this is a little better. But I guess I'll have to look down and talk to y'all instead of sitting
That's
next.
absolutely.
Yeah, yes.
That's
So if you
so,
can just repeat.
yeah, I'm saying that, yeah. So I'm saying what we as say neighbors or acquaintances of children and parents of children who are going through such challenges do, so that it is easier for parents to open up and take help. And how can we also guide our kids to behave around kids who are facing such issues and be sensitive to them rather than bully them or make fun of them? So what kind of how could we deal with such situation?
Yes, definitely. There is a huge role that I and you, as people of the society, can play in how we treat individuals who are dealing with mental issues. Um,
Yes.
a lot of them usually, as I said initially, also they undergo a lot of bullying, and that is one
Yes.
of the reasons why there is so much reluctance, even in parents or even in children, adolescents who say that teenagers who are facing some stress issues, they are not wanting to come in the open and acknowledge that they are facing it because of the